Friends, today we pick up again with Jake and the Hobo, My Summer of Love. Stories about Erasmus P. Hobbs and Jake Meadows. As you read in the story in the description as we read, it's the adventures, the story, the journey of forgiveness. Of Jake Meadows fleeing an abusive family in Black Mountain, West Virginia, and in the middle of the night, fleeing through the darkened woods, and in the morning arriving by the roadside, not sure where she was going, and in the distance showed up a yellow RV. And out stepped a man about 70-some-odd years old with long white hair, a beard, and said, "How can I help you? My name is Erasmus P. Hobbs, and this is the story of their adventures over 3 months, the journey of forgiveness, of reconciliation. Erasmus P. Hobbs, a hobo, a good Samaritan, a wanderer, a veteran with Agent Orange disease and cancer. And it's his journey as well, with their dog, Socrates. Today, we picked up on page 176, near San Antonio. Erasmus sat in the captain's chair behind the passenger seat, dozing. Matt was driving and I was beside him with Socrates. It was strange to see someone besides Erasmus or myself driving. I considered Emma, ours, but Matt was right at home. He was easy to talk to, and as Erasmus dozed, we headed west towards Brazero National Wildlife Refuge. I rolled down my window to let in the fresh breeze from the Gulf of Mexico. "My truck is my home," he said, "like you and Erasmus with Emma. My sister in Nevada gets my mail, and when things and more things on computer, it's even easier to be mobile. Do you ever miss having one place to call home? And a girlfriend?" I was more interested to see if he had a girlfriend than a home. A good-looking guy like him shouldn't be left alone. Matt said, "Girlfriend, no, but I have special friends. I like how you and Erasmus went this southern route by the Gulf of Mexico. It's far more peaceful. As to home, I was an army brat as a kid. We moved every 2 years or so, which was a lot of fun, though I missed having long-term childhood friendships. I learned to get along with many different people. What changed for me is when my dad went to Vietnam. We didn't see him for more than 2 years, and when he got back, he was a different man, plagued with health problems. That sounds like Erasmus and his struggles with Agent Orange disease." What a strange coincidence. My dad also suffered from Agent Orange. He had all these problems with breathing and his skin was inflamed, but the army wouldn't believe him until he became very sick. We've been to a few doctors over the last couple of months who are trying to help Erasmus. He's in great shape most of the time, but on some days he looks absolutely weary. "Jake, this must be hard for you, being around a person struggling with sickness like this." "It is. It's hard for me to see him sick, but he still has so much energy and vitality. On a good day, he can walk and swim farther than I can. Those past few months have been astonishing, and I've learned so much from him. My school in West Virginia was awful. In the 10th grade, I could barely read or write. But with Erasmus's super patient tutoring, for the first time, I read a book from cover to cover. I'm getting good enough to take my GED soon." "Bravo, Jake. What was the book?" "Civil Disobedience" by Thoreau. A perfect book to read while living in Emma Goldman. Erasmus sounds like an incredible teacher and a fabulous friend. "Hey, do you see that truck pulled over with his flashers on?" Erasmus woke up and said, "This is strange, don't you think, Matt?" An 18-wheeler shouldn't be pulled over to the side of the road like that. I agreed. Let's check it out, Matt said. We found a clearing ahead of the truck and walked back to it. The driver looked like he was sleeping with his head on the wheels. Excuse me. Matt looked up and looked in and said, I don't think we can do anything. He's dead. Should we call the police, I asked. No, said Erasmus. Matt, make sure your fingerprints are wiped off the truck where you touched it. I heard a baby crying from the inside of the truck. What do we do? I asked. Matt said, Erasmus, do you have something to break open the lock? Sure, Jake, get the heavy hammer and let's see if we can open this up. When the truck doors were opened, there was not only a baby, but more than a dozen people inside. Erasmus told them in Spanish, Don't worry, we're not the police. We only want to help. We got the people out of the truck, gave them water, and tried to find out what happened. They had been smuggled from Central America. One man said, At the border we gave the driver all our money, and he said he would help us, but we've been stuck here for hours. We can't call the police. They're refugees, and they'll be deported. They need help. And I have friends at a church about an hour from here. Let me make a few calls. Erasmus always seemed like he had friends everywhere, and today, desperately, we needed them. I interrupted him. Though Matt didn't speak Spanish as well as Erasmus, he made everyone soon feel comfortable and promised them he would find a place to rest. We had to get out of there as soon as we could. We had a dead truck driver and his rig at the side of the road and at least 15 refugees, and if you include me as a 16-year-old runaway, we had a recipe for disaster. Let's hurry, Erasmus said. Get them into Emma. The church said they would help, and the Quaker community in San Antonio will get them north to a safe house. A young mother, Anna with a baby, said, They took all our papers and our money. We had no idea where we were going. Can you please help us? Erasmus assured them. Nobody would turn over to the police and said, Come into the RV and we'll drive you to a church nearby. You're safe with us. Gracias a Dios. The woman kissed Erasmus's hand. Erasmus drove and Matt was in the back with me and the other people who filled up every spare inch of Emma. Anna breastfed the baby, and I later found out she had just turned 16, and this was her second baby. Her first baby died last year. As she fed her, her eyes closed and she quietly hummed a song, Arroyo, mi niño, hushaby, my baby, Canción de cuna, arroyo, mi niño, arroyo, mi sol, arroyo, pedazo de mi corazón, esta niña linda. Hushaby, baby, hushaby, my son, hushaby, hushaby. This pretty place, this pretty child wants to sleep already. Make him a cradle of rose and jasmine. Matt sat on the floor with Anna and the other mothers. He took out his guitar and played along until we heard a police siren and saw flashing red lights. I moved up front as Erasmus pulled over. He reached for his paper and rolled down his officer. Erasmus said, Hello, officer. How are you? Something I can help you with? We saw your license plate from Vermont, and we thought we would say hello and welcome you to the great state of Texas, said the cop, looking at us through mirrored sunglasses with one hand resting on his gun. Mighty hospitable of you, and here are my papers. Besides the welcome wagon, we heard there are illegal immigrants in the area. We're checking all cars and trucks for any wetbacks. I was terrified, but Erasmus was as cool as an ice cube, even when dealing with cops. Do you mean refugees? If we see any, we'll let you know. Any contrabands or drugs in your RV? The cop tried to peer into the back. We're good. Were you in the 1st Cavalry? How long ago did you serve? Actually, the cop said, my uncle was in the 1st Cavalry and was killed in Vietnam. How did you know? I saw your tattoo. I was a medic in Vietnam and met a few of those soldiers from the 1st Cavalry. I interrupted them. Excuse me, Grandpa, is the police officer going to get me to the hospital? Sir, you didn't tell us your granddaughter was sick. I think we'll be okay, but where's the nearest clinic? I can have a police escort go with you to the hospital. No need, we don't need an escort, but thank you. And one of the babies in the back started to cry and then was muffled. I loudly retched into the bag. Ugh! Grandpa, let's hurry. I need my medication. We won't keep you. I hope your granddaughter is better. Good to meet a vet. Sure thing, officer. We slowly drove away from the two police cars, and as soon as we were out of range, Erasmus burst out laughing. Jake, you didn't tell me one of your talents was as a con artist? Grandpa, you know I got the police about to bust us flu. Matt explained to the people in the back what happened. The laughter took all the tension out of the air, but it was still dangerous with the police and the border patrol finishing around. We came to a fork in the road and drove to Shiloh Church in a grove of cottonwoods. A dozen cars were already there, and people came to meet us. An older man with a long white beard came and said, Hello, Erasmus. We haven't seen you in a long time. We called around to friends, and everybody is ready to help. Bring everyone inside. We have supper waiting. Erasmus explained to the refugees, These people are your friends and will help you to go north for sanctuary. They have dinner and a place for you to sleep tonight nearby. In the small church, tables were laid out. There was a place setting for about 20 people with big bowls of salad, rice, beans, tamales, and chicken. The restrooms were small, but everyone took turns washing up and then sat down for dinner. One of the men spoke in English. Thank you all. Gracias to Matt, Erasmus, Jake. You saved our lives. After dinner, several nurses treated the people who needed help and took them to a neighboring house. I was exhausted, and Anna and her baby Angelina slept in the back of Emma, and I slept on the bunk bed in the front. The next morning we woke up to the sounds of sirens. Damn, I can't believe the police are here. What will happen to everyone? Anna, stay here. We'll come back for you, said Erasmus. I ran into the church. It was completely empty. There wasn't a single table or any sign anybody was here last night. Only the pews for Sunday service. The Border Patrol and the state police stormed the church, but the only people there were Josiah, the elders of Shiloh, his wife Rebecca, and us. Josiah said, Martin, Phil, and you boys made a terrible mistake. Whatever you heard about Shiloh Church, you're mistaken. We're a peaceable, law-abiding people. You've known us all your lives, and we only do God's work, except when it comes to immigration. We know you shelter wetbacks, and one day we'll figure out how you do it, said the sheriff. When the police left, Erasmus said, Where did everyone go? Josiah told us, like all churches of the Underground Railroad, we have a safe house not too far from here. After dinner, we cleaned up the church and brought everyone there. Anna and her baby, Angelina, were safe. She said to Erasmus, I have to get to San Antonio. My husband is there, and he works in a factory. Can you get me there? Sure we can, Erasmus said. Josiah, thanks to you and your church for helping these people. We're following the gospel's message, providing shelter and helping refugees. Until this country turns around and enacts sensible immigration laws instead of endangering people, we'll continue to help them. Matt said, thank you. We'll head up to the Quakers in San Antonio, and we can look for Anna's husband. Well, this is the adventures tonight on Jake and the Hobo, and this is so timely now, as we've been struggling over the last few years with the rights of immigrants and the fact that immigrants are people, and all people deserve to be treated humanely, justly, and with kindness and respect. And now where we criminalize immigrants, people fleeing hard times, refugees, and we need to act together. And in this book of Jake and the Hobo, I bring up some of these issues in this journey about immigration, that we are all a nation of immigrants. We all come from some immigrant past. And we try to show it in our book, Jake and the Hobo, My Summer of Love, that you can get it online at Vermont Art Poetry Press. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Jake and the Hobo. Continued tomorrow. Thank you. Namaya out.